Unlock the secrets, learn new tactics, and build a winning strategy to win the aging game. Welcome to the Aging Game with Bruce and Susan.
Welcome to the Aging Game with Bruce and Susan. This is episode 5. We are going to talk about Southwest Florida resources. You should join, engage, and thrive. All about the Southwest Florida community resources, and we are featuring Amanda Barton with Seniors Blue Book today.
Hi, Susan. Great to be here. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Susan, what have you been up to last week?
Gosh, I've had a great week. Took a little mini weekend cruise, which is nice to just get away for a bit. And professionally, I've just been working on, I'll be piloting a medical device in August. And so just kind of getting ready to do that, put finishing touches on it, and really excited to get to share that hopefully very soon.
Can't wait to learn more about that.
All right. So I know you've got a story for us today, something to share on the topic of resources. So ready.
So it was interesting. I was with a couple just yesterday, and they live in their home, and the gentleman has been diagnosed with dementia, and he also has Parkinson's. And the wife, she's a little bit older than he is, has a bad knee, and they can't do knee surgery because she's got a bad heart right now. And so she's burnt out, she's stressed, trying to take care of the husband. And they went to me and they said, Bruce, we need help. We need help in our home. We need help with food. We need help with, home care. We need help me find a place. And they just don't know where to turn. And so, I thought about all that, and I knew that today's episode with Amanda and the Seniors Blue Book, and, that's what we do, is we provide resources for people. And so I thought that was an interesting story, and I definitely I'm going to be able to help them, with all the different resources that we have in our community. So, good story, and hopefully they'll be okay.
It's a common story we hear, so it's very pertinent to our topic today. Well, as we dive into this, I am a nerd for statistics, and I always love to start with some interesting stuff. So today I've got an interesting study that was done by the University of Michigan. It was published at the end of 2023, and the study focused on adults 65 to 80 years old. So they reported that 38% reported infrequent contact, meaning once per week or less, with people from outside of their home. I just thought it was so sad. Another study that partnered with them was the National Library of Medicine, and they state that social support, social participation, and having a social connection or network significantly reduces depression, isolation, and caregiver burnout. And then back to that University of Michigan study, 40% of older adults did not know of places or organizations in their community for socialization, exercise, or to participate in various senior-friendly activities. And then last but not least, it reports that 70% of the study, which was, again, those adults 65 and older, were reluctant to accept or seek out help from the community due to 4 main reasons: a fear of losing independence, a desire to not be a burden, a lack of trust, and a fear of giving up control. I thought that was interesting because I think that we see that a lot in our life and in our businesses and what we're doing. And I'm hoping that with this topic today, we can encourage people to, join, engage, and thrive.
Those are some amazing statistics. And, it just started me thinking about during the COVID pandemic and how people weren't isolated in their homes or isolated, wherever they were living, and how much their life declined because they were not thriving and they were not engaging with other people. So it's very interesting.
Great point you bring up there. As I was prepping for these statistics, I was looking at some pre-COVID statistics from like the late, teens, and the numbers have just gone up so much. And I really do think that the pandemic played a big part in that.
So, since we're talking about the aging game, and we're, our theme is tied into the game of chess, I have a little chess quote to share, and so which I thought was important. So you can't win the chess match if you don't have enough pieces. To win the game, you need to build up your pieces. And as I relate to that, the vast array of so when I think about winning the aging game, that's having the resources available. Those are your pieces of the puzzle. Those are the pieces of the game. Then that's how you win the game, is having those resources available. So very, very relevant and um, important.
I love it.
When experience matters the most, Senior Housing Solutions uses over 30 years of industry knowledge to provide expert advice for those considering a move to a senior living community. We are the matchmakers of senior housing. Call today at 239-595-0207 for your free consultation.
All right. Welcome to the Gambit, which is our main segment where we're going to dive into all of our topic today. So today with us, we have Amanda Barton. Amanda has been serving the aging community for over a decade. She is the managing partner and publisher of the resource guide called The Seniors Blue Book.
Thank you so much for having me.
And welcome, Amanda. And Amanda's been a good friend of mine for many years as well. And so, again, the Seniors Blue Book has been helping families in Southwest Florida navigate through this confusing maze of senior care for nearly 40 years, and providing free educational events, providing a resource that provides a list of different resources. There's comparison grids within the Blue Book. There's extremely valuable information, and a lot that people can access through the book. So it's great, Amanda, for you being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me, Bruce. I appreciate it.
I am so excited to dive into this topic and to pick your brain on all the great resources we have in our wonderful community. But before we get started, I always ask this of everyone. So what is something that you know today about community resources that you wish you knew earlier in either your life or your career?
So I always like to reference my experience with my grandmother, and I reference it a lot in different topics. But about 10 years ago, I became her power of attorney and was responsible for helping her make decisions. And I thought I knew a lot about the different resources that were in our community. But we were taken advantage of by an elder law attorney that told us that we needed a trust for her. And now that I've been doing this for a while, I realize that she really didn't need one. So it's really important to have a trusted advocate that is in your community, that's local, that you can trust.
Yeah, I think relationships are so important, and getting to know the people you're working with and building that good trusting relationship, because people can steer you wrong, and aging is an extremely complex topic, as we all know about.
So let's get in today's topic. We all know how important socialization and engagement, how important that is to people, and how they, how people can live successfully as they, are engaging and interacting with other people. So, what local resources would you recommend for those people looking for socialization or engagement?
Well, we're very lucky that I think that there's a light that shined on how important it is for socialization. So the local senior centers in your area here in Southwest Florida, we're very blessed to have a lot of people that do educational seminars. This is an opportunity for you not only to engage with people that are seeking the same information as you, but you're also getting valuable information at the same time. So looking online to see what educational seminars are out there, maybe following some local Facebook groups that show you those educational seminars. But of course, you have senior centers throughout Southwest Florida, the Baker Senior Center. There's senior centers in every single county, Bonita Springs, Cape Coral. Those are great. And then, seeking adult day centers and other support group resources as well.
So thinking about these options, are these just options where people go to these places, or do they have a component where maybe those resources can be brought to the home?
So most of these places you do have to go. Some of them do have virtual options, but if you're looking for local companionship, there are a number of private duty companies that are available for companionship that I would recommend. You definitely want to have some socialization, but some people are very different. They don't want to be in a large group. They would rather have a companion come to their home, a couple times a week and play cards with them or take them grocery shopping. That could be socialization that's perfect for someone that's more not as outgoing or more introverted.
That's a great point. I think we've talked about it in a couple other episodes, but as people are making that plan, being realistic with themselves, acknowledging, what they are, what their wishes are. I think my mom and I have this debate all the time. I tell her, this is what you're going to do when you're older. And she's like, but that's not me. And I'm like, but I want you to be happy. But I have to realize and acknowledge, like, what might make her happy is different than me. She's a social butterfly and wants to be around 100 people. I'm more comfortable with a more intimate, shorter group. So I probably thrive more in that one-on-one.
And then there's different senior communities or assisted living types of communities that also offer that type of socialization and engagement as well, right?
For sure. And what I love most about senior living communities is it doesn't matter if you like to be around a lot of people or a small group of people. There's an opportunity for that mix, whatever you're comfortable with. You can be an introvert and still thrive in a senior living community, but you can also be around a large group of people. It just depends. There's something going on for every individual in a senior living community.
I love that.
During one of our other episodes, Susan talked about, I'm sure Susan gave some statistics about caregivers
Probably.
and caregiver burnout. And so, Amanda, can you talk about support services that are available for not only the individual, but more for the caregiver?
I've actually seen this firsthand when my father was a caregiver for my grandmother that had Alzheimer's. I think it's so important to reach out for local services. Again, I feel like we're incredibly blessed here in Southwest Florida. We have a number of organizations. It just depends on what your loved one is dealing with. But here we have the Parkinson's Association of Southwest Florida. We're blessed to have the National Alzheimer's Association, but we also have a local resource called the Alzheimer's Support Network. Again, we're very blessed that we have choices when it comes to hospice care and that support service as well. So there's Eval Hospice, but there's also VITAS, both offering support groups, and not only for the person that is caring for someone that is in an end of life stage, but also for people going through pet bereavement. For seniors, this is really a big deal because that is their lifeline. And if they lose their pet from somebody that's a dog mom of 3, that's something that's incredibly needed. So there's so many services that they offer. It's not just about bereavement when you lose a spouse or a loved one.
I love that you mentioned the pets because definitely as a dog mom of 2, I love them. I learned about a year and a half ago that Avow has a pet garden, which I just thought that was so special. And then I read a very interesting story recently that it said that they're seeing that older adults are having the same experience in terms of grief and loss that they would if they lost like a human child.
For sure.
And I think it's impactful. People always make fun of me, oh, you're too much of a dog mom, but really is my life. And you see it a lot with seniors, and
100%.
I wish they could be in the hospitals with them.
And I'm a 2-dog dad as well. And, losing them would be just devastating. And so I can't imagine. So, I was thinking about my story that I shared about the couple earlier, where, the gentleman has dementia and Parkinson's and he's not driving, and she, the wife, bad knee, bad heart, she's not driving, especially, she's going to have surgery. And so when you think about, that, are there transportation services around available in this area for, to help people get to doctor's appointments, to help people get to the grocery store, to get them out of their home? Are there services available in Southwest Florida that you would recommend?
Yeah, we're very lucky that there are a number of opportunities there. If you're looking for that one-on-one companionship care where somebody maybe takes you to the physician or takes you to the grocery store and helps you, I would recommend a private duty company, but also there's a couple other resources if you're just looking for a ride to the doctor's office. One that I learned about today is called Call Saul. Another national one that I know quite a bit about is the Go Go Grandparent. Here locally, though, we have something through the Dr. Piper Center for Social Services. They get grants for different programs, and one of the grants that they get is for a Faith in Action program, and it's for volunteers that provide transportation to people that are 55 and over who can no longer drive. So it serves the frail, elderly individuals that can't get a ride from anyone else. So I thought that was really important to mention. There's also the Fish Pine Island program and Passport.
There's also transportation about, if you had a parent that needed to be airlifted or transported to a different state, correct?
Oh, there's a really great service called GoMo Travel. It's it's a nurse that goes with your loved one and can help them get through the airport and navigate through the complexities of TSA. It's a really great program if you have a loved one that you say lives in Ohio. You really want to move them here to Florida. But they have Alzheimer's, dementia, or any kind of cognitive impairment, and they want to get them down here, but they don't know how. So this nurse knows exactly. Call her the dementia whisperer, and she can actually help them get on the plane, get down here, and she does all of the arrangements, and it's really great for someone that may want to get their loved one
My
across.
wife and I are traveling with her dad this weekend, and it's going to be an interesting flight. So
yeah, maybe you should call her.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, it's interesting. As we were preparing for this and talking to a couple different doctors and providers, they had shared with me that transportation is one of the high reasons that they see seniors miss appointments.
Mhm.
So definitely, I think knowing about all these vast resources that are out there, even if it's something, you need medical transport, you need to stay in your wheelchair or your bed or whatnot, those services are both in our community too.
Yeah, I always reference my grandmother again. My grandmother has macular degeneration, and God bless her, she actually made the decision to give up her car. She sold it. And we're looking for all of these resources for her. She lives in a really small town in Wisconsin. So it's interesting. It all kind of leads back to my experiences that I've had with her.
I think that's really at the core of so much of this that we're doing is it is personal what we do. No matter our aspect of elder care, it is personal.
And you can hire an Uber or a Lyft, but you're basically having a stranger drive you to point A and point B, and you're waiting around,
and they're not familiar with working with seniors. It's so different. It's really important that you have that special touch.
It's true.
So, nutrition and meals, they play such a key role in, any healthy aging plan. And I know that, as we age, those things get harder and harder to do. So what type of resources do we have in our community that might be helping with nutrition or meal planning or even, someone to cook your meals for you?
Oh, for sure. One of my favorites is Chef for Seniors. This gentleman will actually go through your kitchen with you and find out what your special needs are. If you have any allergies, he'll do the shopping and cook right there in your home. If you prefer that he cooks away from your home and bring it in, that's fine too. But he'll actually prepare everything right there for you, put it in your freezer. So your meals are individually created specifically for you. It's a really great service. And then there's other services like Meals on Wheels and St. Matthew's House. There's several churches in the area that will also help with food assistance. But if you really want that white glove service, I would say Chef for Seniors for sure.
You think he does it for middle-aged professionals?
I'm sure he does.
Absolutely.
Because I could use that.
100%.
He's a nice guy too. I know him personally. He's a very nice guy.
He certainly is.
I am the worst when it comes to meal planning or eating, and I think you get busy and you're on the road, so it's
Absolutely.
challenging.
Well, welcome to my life, because I'm the cook in my family. So
hey, cook us some barbecue and bring it to our next episode.
There you go. So Amanda, I know veterans are near and dear to you, and it's very important to our listeners and important to Susan and I. So can you talk about the what benefit or what resources there are for veterans in our area?
So there are several options for veterans in our area. Patriot Angels is one of them. There's also Hearts and Homes for Veterans. There's a program called Affordable Home Ownership Foundation. There's a lot of resources out there for them, and there's also a lot of professionals that specialize in working with veterans that would walk through their benefits with them. I'm not sure if our listeners have heard of Collier Lee Honor Flight, but that's another local resource here in Southwest Florida that helps our World War veterans get to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments. It's a lot of fun. I've actually had the honor of going on a flight and being at the airport when they come home. But for going through their benefits specifically, I'd say Patriot Angels.
And there, sometimes it's important to go local. Sometimes people like, because Patriot Angels is a national organization, so sometimes it's better to people want to be face to face with people and sit down in front of a desk and go through. And so there are local resources as well, right?
There are, and I know that Platinum Benefit Services is one that will walk through your VA benefits with you, and if there's any other financial needs, they also will help with filing for Medicaid. So there's some great opportunity with that company as well.
There's so much for the veterans, I think, in our community. I always love in February they have the Veterans Expo, and I think it's really nice to get together and see just all the businesses come together that offer free services for veterans, and how we're, as a community, we do care about them and do want to take care of them.
And I know we've mentioned Avow Hospice and that they're not just hospice, they do so many other things. Avow has a really robust veterans program as well.
Yeah, I think anything we can do to support our veterans is very important.
Very important.
So, what local resources maybe have we not touched on that you think are important to mention or consider?
Well, the fact that we're here in Southwest Florida and there's a lot of people that are aging and maybe looking to move into a senior living community, I would say there's a lot of shortcuts that they need to know about because the process can be overwhelming. And you really need to make sure that you work with individuals that specialize in working with the aging adults. So there are real estate experts out there that have a special designation. It's a senior real estate expert, SRE. So that, as well as there are moving and packing companies that will come and help you downsize and go through everything. So you're not overwhelmed when the actual move occurs. And then there are companies that will help people go through the different senior living communities and go specifically to the ones that work for them. These are housing placement companies such as Bruce's company. I just want to mention that. It can really help not just make it a more smooth, seamless process, but it really takes all the stress off of the move as well.
I think that, having a local person help you with those things is so important. Downsizing is such kind of like a hot topic right now. I see it in so many things. And I was chatting with a client the other day and she was just telling me but everything in my home has a story. Everything in my home is tied to a memory. And how do I part with that? And it just broke my heart. I just wanted to sit there and cry with her. And I think that when you're talking about these experts, the real estate experts, the downsizing experts, even experts like what Bruce is doing, I think them having that senior specialty aspect to it is so important because everything in their life has a meaning and they are saying goodbye to certain things, whether they're downsizing from a home to a condo or a home to a senior community. Those things are difficult. So having someone to walk that journey with you that has compassion and is patient is great, because I know sometimes as adult children we're like, Ma, just purge it. I don't want your china.
100%.
Yeah.
I have this conversation with my grandmother every time we talk about her blue glass.
Yeah. My mom wants to give me all of her china.
Kids don't want your stuff.
I do not want your china, Mom. I love you, but I don't need
One of the topics
china.
that I do with the programs, the educational programs, is what to do with your stuff because your kids don't want it.
They don't want your stuff. So kind of going back, we were talking about, being dog lovers. And so if somebody was said, I want to bring, my pets are a part of my life. how do I know, which senior places are out there that accept pets?
Okay, so there are several ways that you can do that. A local resource that we were going to talk about is the Seniors Blue Book. We have some comparison grids that actually will show you which communities take pets, whether they take small dogs, whether they take all pets. There are some communities that will only take cats. And I always tell people when I'm explaining how to use the book, if I had a black Sharpie, I would be looking for the ones that don't take pets. They would have a black Sharpie line right through them because I'm not moving it. My dogs are coming with me. Maybe not all three of them when the time comes, because that might be a bit much for me when I'm a little older, but I'm definitely going to have pets for the rest of my life.
Pets make
So
every
so
day
we
better.
have the Senior Blue Book. Are there other resources, other guides out
Oh,
there?
yes, there are. Locally here, we have the Health and Wellness magazine, which is really great for keeping up with local health articles. We have the Senior Living Guide. And then you always have to know that we're incredibly blessed here in Southwest Florida to have local experts that are passionate about educating our seniors.
What is one piece of advice that you would want to share with our listeners, um, when it comes to local resources?
To stay local. We're very blessed. We have the opportunity to have people that will take you in their car or literally meet you at a senior living community and walk through with you. Stay off the internet, and that's not just because you could get put on a spam list and your information would be sold and you'll get calls, but you also are a victim for scam artists. My grandmother's the most paranoid person in the world, and I never thought she would fall for a scam. And she'll be really mad when she hears this episode, but it happened to her. And if it can happen to her, it can happen to anyone. Don't click any links when they're emailed to you. I think when you go on the internet and you're clicking around, you get put on lists that you inadvertently didn't mean to. And that can be a disservice to you and others that are trying to help you locally in the area. So just make sure that you stay off the internet. Your neighbors are great. They have your best interest at heart, but you can't always believe everything that they say, and everybody's circumstances are different. So, one situation that may work for your neighbor, it won't work for you. Everybody's different. So, a lot of these resources are free to have a conversation. They're not going to charge you for a consultation. So, don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Use your local resources. Pick up the Seniors Blue Book. Call Bruce. Talk to people that are willing to help you, because these resources are right here. And I know you don't know what you don't know, but that's what the educational events are for. And we're very lucky that we have so many of them here throughout the year. It's not just during season. It's 12 months out of the
Do
year.
you mean you can't trust the internet?
No.
Definitely don't trust the internet.
Don't do that.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really do live in a great community. There's so many resources out there. And I think it's important to highlight that for our listeners so that they can be encouraged. Sometimes I hear people not want to go. We talked a little bit earlier about support. So whether that's the Alzheimer's Association or Parkinson's or even the local hospice companies, I hear people that'll say like, oh, that's depressing, that's sad. And I try to tell them it's not. There's groups that are, and then there's groups where you can, find your community. And I think that's really the point of the resources is that, whatever it is that you need, we're very blessed in this community that it is out there for you.
Well, and you have to remember that these people are going through the same experiences that you are, and they may have advice that will help you get through a process that you didn't even know that you needed help with. And I think it's really interesting because we hear people say, if you're touring a senior living community, well, everyone here is old. And it's like, okay, maybe we should look in the mirror and really have a reality check on whether or not we need these services or not. We need to take a look at ourselves and say what would be best for us, for our socialization, for our mental health, to help us age gracefully and do it with intent.
Yeah, I think that's important.
So, Amanda, for people who are interested in learning more about Seniors Blue Book and the activities that you have coming up, how can they contact you, or how can they get a book?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. You can always reach out to me personally. My cell phone number is 813 731-6069. We also have a national website. It's www.seniors, with the S, it's plural, seniorsbluebook.com. It's national with a local homepage. So you just scroll to, Southwest Florida, or if you're in another area, you would scroll there and click on that. And there's a calendar of activities, and it's everything that's going on, whether it be support groups, educational programs, events and activities at these support group locations, or even at senior living communities in other areas.
And the Blue Book is what?
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. You can definitely pick it up at any Walgreens. We're also in the public libraries, different cafes. I just had breakfast this morning at Old Burnwood Cafe on 41, and I run out of books there. It seems every month I'm filling it up. So they're everywhere, but we can also mail one to you if you reach out to me on my cell phone.
And I know you're on Facebook, so you have your social media. You're on Facebook. You're on
all
Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just people search
Seniors
Blue Book.
Seniors Blue Book, Lee and Collier County, or Seniors Blue Book, Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte.
Great.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much for being here. You really are our local expert with, all things resources. So
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate your time.
I appreciate being invited. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Bright Star Care of Naples and Fort Myers, providing exceptional in-home care. At Bright Star Care of Naples and Fort Myers, we believe that you and your loved ones deserve nothing but the best. Our team of highly trained nurses and caregivers are committed to delivering the highest standard of in-home care. We offer a wide range of both medical and non-medical services to cater to your specific needs. From companion care and personal care to skilled nursing and therapy services, our professional care team is here to meet your needs, both now and in the future. Bright Star Care is proud to provide the highest quality of care and prioritize in-home safety. We are accredited by the Joint Commission, and all care is overseen by a registered nurse. With Bright Star Care, you can have peace of mind knowing that your loved one is in the best hands. To learn more about Bright Star Care of Naples and Fort Myers, visit us online at brightstarcare.com or give us a call at 239-992-4779. We are available 24/7 to answer any questions you may have. Bright Star Care of Naples and Fort Myers, where exceptional care meets compassion. Locally owned and operated since 2006.
All right. Well, welcome to Checkmate, our closing segment. So as we wrap up today's episode, Bruce, what's the one thing, your one takeaway today on community resources that if our listeners do nothing, they do this one thing?
Get the Blue Book. So that's pretty evident that, this is a great resource in our community, and there are so many wonderful resources that are here, both in Collier and Lee County. And, people just need to, wave their hand and, stick up their hand and say, I need a little help. And the resources are there for them.
Yeah. And the book is super user friendly with all the ways that it's broke down into categories. So I do love that.
So, Susan, what's going on this week?
All right, so we've got some exciting things in the community. This Saturday is the free Saturday at the Naples Zoo. So if you're a Collier resident, go see the animals for free. On Friday is one of my favorite farmers markets. So it's the Edison and Ford Farmers Market from 9 to 1. And then I have a save the date for us. So every year, the Seniors Blue Book puts on their annual senior symposiums. They're always so wonderful. So I know that those are coming up in early 2025. So definitely, as you come to our website or our social medias, you'll be able to click on our resource links and we'll have the actual dates and links there for you to get more information. But definitely think about, attending those in Lee and Collier, coming up in, 2025.
Excellent. Sounds fun.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the weekend. And then next week, we have a great episode. We are featuring our guest, Ed Woolman, and we will be discussing all things legal.
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank
See
you,
you then.
Amanda.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Amanda.
much.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media. You can also find more information and resources at www.theaginggamepodcast.com.